Does Jeff stuff his shorts for photo shoots? Is there a story behind the $1,000 personalized Jeff delivery option? Would you ride/trust a damaged and then professionally repaired carbon frame? What's LIGMA? Good afternoon, I am Jeff, the founder and also known as the Dingleberry CEO of Worldwide Cyclery, and I'm here to answer your questions from Instagram and YouTube. There's some really good serious ones that will bring you bike knowledge and also some really good funny ones that will bring you laughter, so let's do it. Does Jeff stuff his shorts for photo shoots? As a CEO/boss and friend to your employees, how do you draw the line of, quote, I'm Jeff, your buddy, that's joking around, to, quote, I'm Jeff, you're not doing well at your job and we need to discuss your future at the company? It's honestly a good question, and it's something a lot of people have asked me because I'm probably not the typical CEO, or certainly not what you would think of as a quote-unquote boss in any way, shape, or form, but also do run a business and do have employees and all of that. We have a thing in our company, it's actually a value called balancing fun and focus, and I think where that comes into play is kind of with everyone in the company, and myself included, where yes, we do goof around and we have a lot of fun and we're a very lighthearted, enjoyable, humorous company, but we also aren't only always like that. Otherwise, we would probably have failed as a company. And we do have a serious side where we take things very seriously, like serving customers and operating a good, healthy, quality business. And something you'll notice if you get to know me on a more personal level, I do go from an erratic, weirdo goofball who seems oddly immature to a strange, serious CEO type, and I just kind of bounce around the two of them, and I don't know, I think it's acceptable and it seems to work and has worked so far for us. What type of brands do you want to see succeed in the bike industry and why? That is a great question, and the answer is kind of the brands I want to see succeed anywhere in the world, and I want to see brands succeed that are actually doing well. Brands that are transparent with who runs them, what their values are, who they are as people, and what they're doing and why, and brands that sort of give back. I want to see brands, obviously businesses for the longest time and still for the most part kind of just seem to exist to make money, and I don't really think that that's a good way businesses should operate, and I think brands should have a lot more to offer to people and to society and to the world at large. And even if it's on a small scale, small businesses obviously can't make a massive impact, but they can still do right by their customers, right by their staff, right by their communities, and do good things that kind of give back to the industry that they're serving. So I want to see brands that are intentionally trying to operate a good quality business and do right and do good. I want to see those types of brands succeed in the bike industry and just in any brand in general. If you had to choose between the DHF and the Assegai, what type of cheese would you put on your burger? The answer is Jack. I really like Jack cheese. That's a much more simple question than the difference between a DHF and an Assegai. Those are two of the most popular Maxxis tires, especially the most popular grippy front Maxxis tires. I think the DHF is slightly lighter and maybe rolls slightly faster, although the rolling faster part, no one's really done the actual research on it. That's a tough question. I think I would go Assegai these days over DHF just because it's so unbelievably grippy that, I don't know, in my brain it's kind of taken the crown of the DHF, at least in how it performs, but not in terms of the most winningest mountain bike race tire ever. What is it like working with Brian from BKXC on Trail One products? I think it is awesome, the idea of him and you guys producing a product to use on our bikes and to name them after places he has been. Love it. So BKXC, it's a good friend of mine, Brian Kennedy. Him and I and a few other guys have co-founded a new component brand called Trail One Components. And the idea with Trail One Components is kind of what I just talked about earlier about brands doing good. We want to make really high quality, phenomenally designed mountain bike components, and we have a world-class engineer helping us pull that off. But we also want to tell the story of those components and have those components have a way to actually give back to trail organizations around the world. So all of the components will give, each one sold will give $1 back to the trail networks, whether it's a trail network they're named after or go into the Trail One treasury. So it's kind of this big, larger idea of building a component brand that makes really, really well-designed, technical, good quality mountain bike products that also then has stories told about it and the trail networks and giving back to the trail network. So that's the idea behind Trail One. We just launched it in November, and it's been pretty awesome to see it come to life so far because we've been working on it for legitimately 4 years and finally just bring bring it to life. So really stoked on that thing, and it's been great working with Brian. He's a good dude, and I think, you know, where he comes into play with Trail One is really telling the story of how the products are going to give back to those trails and why we chose those trails in particular. Obviously myself and the Worldwide Cyclery team is going to try to do a lot of the business operations and things behind Trail One, and then of course we have a partner guy who is doing all the technical engineering, who's a former Raceface engineer, and he's incredible at what he does there. So we're trying to build out just a collective team of founders that can make this company come to life, and I think you will see it actually blossom quite a bit in the next coming years. Is there a story behind the $1,000 personalized Jeff delivery option? I wish I had the disposable income just to see what would happen. A few weeks ago, on a Sunday evening, I had the idea to make a shipping option on the Worldwide Cyclery site as well as the KETL Mtn site. The shipping option is only available to the United States. It costs $1,000 and it's hand delivery by Jeff. And a lot of people have asked about it. Even our own staff, I had to explain to someone today that it was real and I would actually do that because he thought it was a joke. But no, I'm dead serious. I think it would be a really fun, interesting YouTube video to make and just an enjoyable little adventure. If someone was willing to spend $1,000 to have me hand deliver their order from one of the websites, I would legitimately buy a plane ticket and go and do that. So if you have $1,000 extra, go ahead. I promise you I will actually show up. And if it happens too often, I'll probably change it to $2,000. And if it never happens, maybe I'll change it to $500. But I'm gonna do one of these for sure. I joked to my roommates about being in a relationship with my bike. Yesterday, my friend came out to talk to me while I was washing it. I started breathing heavy as I scrubbed. Then, with the saddle already down, I pressed my dropper lever and let out a little moan. My friend's reaction was exactly what I had hoped for. Ever pulled that one before, Jeff? Apologies for my immaturity. Feel free to delete this one, guys. LOL. Well, Zachary, I think that's absolutely hilarious, so much so that I really wanted to just show the world that comment. That's not even really a question. Oh, I guess it was. Ever pulled that one? I don't think I have. I've actually had a couple songs on guitar that I've played in the past about sleeping with bicycles that I've played when I was drunk, but that's too inappropriate for YouTube, sorry. 3 things we wouldn't assume about Worldwide Cyclery. Let's see. 1, we have a reading program where any of the staff can get $20 an hour based on audiobook time for reading nonfiction, useful personal development, business, marketing books. I put that in several years ago, and I think we've paid out over $20,000 in that over the years because I personally have had reading really affect me in a positive way, and I wanted to share that. And a lot of people these days don't like to read, especially people under the age of 35, so I found out how to incentivize them, which sort of works, sometimes doesn't work. But yeah, that's a unique thing that our company has that a lot of people hear about, and they're like, whoa, that's very strange. We also have an employee bike program where basically you get to own one of the bikes that we carry here, so you can ride it and experience it, and you don't have to pay for it yourself. You're just responsible for selling it at the end. That's another reason why a whole bunch of the staff here actually gets to ride and enjoy and experience all the bikes that we sell and trade them out frequently, and everyone asks like, oh man, how do you buy all these bikes? And it's actually just part of the company because I want people to ride and enjoy the stuff that we sell so they can talk about it and learn about it a lot more. And the last thing, I don't know, I could tell you something good about, we have this program where you ride and you actually donate money for NICA, the National Interscholastic Cycling Association, per mile that you ride, and we donate to NICA quarterly based on the staff and how many miles they rode. Or I could tell you that we have some random funny things in here, such as these. Would you ride/trust a damaged and then professionally repaired carbon frame? Yes, I would. I've actually seen that happen, I wouldn't say many times, because carbon frames are surprisingly really strong, especially everything that's been made in the last few years has kind of been overbuilt, and which is the same reason it's as heavy as aluminum these days. But I have seen a number of carbon frames repaired and they're completely fine. Professionally is the key word there. There's definitely facilities out there that are doing aerospace repairs and aerospace carbon fiber that you can have your carbon frame professionally repaired at, and they will do a fantastic job and make it basically just as strong as new. Granted, it's not gonna look pretty, so you're probably gonna have to repaint it, but the answer is yes, I totally would if it was done by a real facility. Side note, I actually currently have a Salsa gravel bike that I love riding, and it was sitting propped up on the crank in the wind the other day as I was changing my clothes about to go in the ocean, and it blew over in the wind and the top tube slammed into a rock and put a big crack in the top tube. I think I've got 600 miles on it since then, and I'm just riding a broken frame and it's totally fine. So carbon is a lot stronger than you might imagine, especially when you're talking the top tube. How hard did you work to start a successful business? What would you recommend for anyone else in that position? I definitely worked hard, but I won't say it was, I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of other entrepreneurs that have much more impressive stories than myself. I did obviously care a lot about making sure we did the right things as a company by customers and by staff, and still do, and we've embedded good customer experience into the culture of our business and into how we operate, and I think that's probably the key thing. I mean, you kind of need to start with the customer and work backwards. How can you really create a great customer experience for whoever you're trying to serve, and how can you do that in a way that's profitable so you continue to maintain your operation financially, because there is kind of a scoreboard and it's finance behind business. So you kind of have to be good and understanding about the customer experience part.
You want bread?
Yes, please.
$3. What? No soup for you.
Good at understanding the strategy of how to get in front of those customers and acquire them, and then also make sure that the finance piece works on the back end.
And we are broke as broke can be.
So that's like a really quick way to sum that all up. And as simple as that might sound, a lot of small businesses fail because they kind of just totally miss those key things. They either neglect customer experience or neglect paying attention to finance, and some way or another they implode because of it. So pay attention to those key things and you'll be fine. When's the next time we can expect another sale within the KETL brand? We did a big sale on KETL Mtn apparel in November. Actually, the beginning of this year, we dropped all of the prices on KETL products. So if you haven't been to the KETL Mtn website yet or looked at the KETL Mtn collection on the Worldwide Cyclery site, you'll notice that all the prices are dramatically lower than they were initially. And that's because as we grow and scale KETL and make new products and sell more product and kind of get to a scale, we obviously want to lower the prices. We want to make really good, high quality stuff, but we also don't want it to be egregiously priced like Lululemon or Arc'teryx or something like that. We want it to be affordable, yet still really high quality and have its purpose of lasting a long time, have a lifetime warranty, and be good, high quality stuff that works well for what it's done. So if you haven't checked it out lately, check out the prices now. They're a lot more competitive than they ever were, and obviously on occasionally we'll do sales, but we'd rather more just not do sales and just try and get the prices as low as we can potentially afford. So check that stuff out. What's LIGMA? So funny enough, that question was asked on Instagram, and I was sitting right next to Jared, and I was like, what's LIGMA? And I was like, looked at Jared, and I was like, what's LIGMA? And he just goes, LIGMA balls! And I was like, damn it, you got me! And he's like, he got you! And he was laughing at me for about 5 minutes, so that's what happened with that question. How did you all start WC? Well, I started the company when I was 21 years old, and I have these unbelievably incredible parents that are very supportive. I come from a, I wouldn't say an upper class family, but a middle class family. And my mom actually gave me a $20,000 loan at a 10% simple interest rate that I paid her back in the first year. And that was it. I started it off of that loan, and my dad co-signed so I could lease a building. And that was kind of the extent of how my parents helped me, but it was a huge part of how they helped me. And I'm not ashamed of that. I'm incredibly grateful for my parents and want to support them in their oldhood as good as they supported me in my childhood. But that was kind of like the initial founding of Worldwide Cyclery, because prior to that, I worked at shops and I raced mountain bikes for years, and I really got to learn and know and understand the industry. Saw the opportunity for creating something like Worldwide Cyclery where we have retail stores and also sell online and create content and all of that. And so, yeah, my parents allowed me to find a way to make that into a reality, and then I just worked hard from there and pulled it off, and it's worked pretty good ever since. We're still here, and it's been 11 years, surprisingly, which is pretty crazy. So yeah, that's it. That's all. Thank you very much for watching this episode of Ask Jeff. I appreciate it. Any other questions, feel free to drop them below. I will try to produce these more often, but this is version 12, I think. I don't know how many of these we've done in the past. No, obviously we've done 11, and this is the 12th. But I'm going to do one once a month. Probably not. Maybe once every 2 months. Anyways, thank you. If you made it this far in the video, I love you. Please subscribe and hit that thumbs up button. It really helps out the channel and our business. Cheerio. If you want to see more awesome mountain bike videos like this one, check them out here or click on our channel or do something and learn more about mountain bikes and share it with your mountain bike friends like my mountain bike friend, Jared.
We love bikes!
Yes, we love bikes. Also, if you're not subscribed to our channel, please do and hit that thumbs up button. It really helps our channel out. Thank you for watching. We appreciate it.